Anishinaabe. It's strong people. Maybe I'm translating it wrong, but something like that anyway. As Crees, we speak different dialects. Big shout out to all the Cree people in the audience. Yeah, that's what's up. And so, you know, again, just going on the theme of this evening, you know, we've invited you all to be a part of hearing Native perspectives on the environment tonight. And, you know, represented on the panel today, we have some incredible activists. We're yet to be joined by Ariel Deranger, who will also be joining us this evening, but she's still in jail. Just kidding. No, she's over at CBC doing an interview about the action where her and some other young people, some courageous young people, got arrested today trying to hold this government accountable for its failure to act on climate change and its failure to shut down, you know, things like the tar sands that are fueling climate change. And so, you know, Defenders of the Land is a network, as I mentioned, that was formed last year at our first historical summit in Winnipeg, Manitoba. The gathering was held strategically at the same time that the Conservative Caucus was meeting in Winnipeg. And, you know, over 50 First Nations, grassroots representatives from 50 First Nations that are in environmental justice struggles across this country converged in Winnipeg at the Indian Métis Friendship Center in the north end of Winnipeg to discuss strategies and tactics for how we would redefine the Indigenous rights struggle for this generation. You know, and we were not only there talking to each other, we were joined by a handful of non-Indigenous solidarity activists from Indigenous solidarity networks across the country who also met to discuss how they could best support you know, breaking down these barriers that exist here to this day in Canada, in this apartheid system that we've lived in. And so tonight, you know, on the panel we have Daryl Sainnawap, who's representing KI. Those of you, many of you probably are familiar with the story of KI, who have been fighting against mining companies that have been trying to come into their traditional territory to extract resources against their will. And, you know, last year they gained international attention when the government imprisoned 6 of their elected leaders for 6 months. And so we're really pleased to have Daryl joining us today to talk about and report out on where that struggle is going and how you can support. We also have Marilyn Poucachiche from Barrier Lake, Algonquin First Nation, who will be talking about her people's struggle, you know, to continue to have their traditional governance recognized and their continued struggle, you know, with the provincial government of Quebec and the federal government of Canada. And we're really pleased to have her come here today and be a part of the panel. And we also have Gitz Crazy Boy, who's a member of the Athabasca Chippewa First Nation in the beating heart of what's known as the largest development ever in the history of mankind, known as the tar sands in northern Alberta. So he's here joining us today to talk about, you know, his perspectives on our relationship to the sacredness of Mother Earth, on the environment. And as mentioned, Ariel Deranger, Ariel Deranger will be joining us a little bit later. And she's also an enrolled member of the Athabasca Chippewa First Nation. She's the Tar Sands campaign organizer with the Rainforest Action Network. And she'll be joining us to talk about the work that she's doing as well. And so I'd like to, in a good way, invite Marilyn up to the podium to open us up, you know, as our first speaker tonight, and then we'll move from there. So please join me in welcoming Marilyn Poucachiche from Barrier Lake First Nation, everyone.